Welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar, and today I'm here with actress, singer Kaleia. How you doing,
Doing
Kaleia?
all right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Look, I'm having a beer. I was on podcast yesterday and I had a beer. So I've been having beers for 2 days now. I feel like a
I mean,
drunk.
I mean, that's one way to feel. You're all right. Just making do with that cold weather over there, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just relaxing. I mean, there isn't much to do. Everything's on lockdown. What's going on with you over there? You're in South Cali, right? How's the
Uh-huh.
lockdown over there?
We just locked down again just now. So it was just like 2 or 3 days ago. Our phones were blowing up with I got probably eight, eight emergency stay-at-home order texts. So it was just that kind of that awful alarm
So they're
noise.
messaging the phones because like we're not getting that here. We got like
Mhm.
lockdowns and there's certain towns and certain bars that are like, well, we can at least keep 10 people in here and they're doing that thing where there's 10 people. Some bars are
Mhm.
closing down because they're like 10 people isn't gonna really, make us any money. We're still gonna lose money on 10 people.
Mhm.
So but that's crazy. Text messages, alerts, using the alerts to be like stay at home. Stay at
Mhm.
home. Brr, brr, brr. That's crazy. That's kind of
Yeah,
scary.
I was low key looking forward to telling you about it. I was like, listen, y'all. I was like, come on. Okay. It was like, I want to say it was at least eight in a maybe a 30-minute period. They just hammered everybody with everything. I was like,
That's
okay.
crazy. That's some creepy shit right there.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
it was
creepy.
stay at home, emergency alert. I was like,
All
okay.
right, you you have to stay at home. So everything is closed down. Like everything is closed down, but what Walmart and stuff.
Yeah. Yes and no, because California is so big. It seems that, and I haven't been in the state long enough. I haven't been in SoCal long enough. I've only been here for like a month and a half, maybe, because I've been traveling around. But LA is locked down completely. Los Angeles, because it's its own little entity. I am in between LA and San Diego, so
Okay.
a little southeast of Orange County. And
Okay.
yeah, and they're pretty chill down here because the individual like cities are like, no, thank you. And then I know Northern California is doing the same kind of thing. So they're what is being enforced, what isn't being enforced. It's really an interesting energy. So LA is locked down, but Orange County's not. I mean, they are,
Right.
but they're not really
Right.
enforcing it. The
They're
law
not really
enforcement's like,
pushing it.
listen, yeah, they're like, we're gonna come for emergencies.
Yeah, that's
So
about it.
we're gonna,
Yeah, I get that. So you've been traveling this past year through this whole
yeah,
shebang. Where
yeah.
have you been where they've done it differently than someplace like Cali where they're locking everything down or trying to?
Everywhere I've gone has been pretty chill. So I left Florida in July and drove across the country. So I was in
Mhm.
Alabama and they were still pretty chill. No one was really wearing masks. And then in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a hot minute, and there wasn't a lot of lockdown there. We were still kind of, I guess, coming into things. Things were starting to open up. And then I
Right.
was in NorCal um, for a few months. And that was when they started opening the movie theaters. But every time they would open something, they would shut everything back down. And my friend's going to school up there. And they would
Okay.
open something and shut it down and open something and shut. Okay, now we have to go back home and work from home again. And they're trying to open the school and like code purple, code whatever, all the various like color codes for the the Roni at the moment.
Right. Ridiculous. Just
Uh-huh.
ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. I don't even know if I can curse anymore. I don't know what's going on with the censorship of YouTube. Like this became like like YouTube just became like Nickelodeon and Disney. Like you
Yeah.
can't curse. This is for
Mm-hmm.
kids only.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's a kid.
I feel
Everybody's a
like
kid.
Everyone's like, yeah. I just recently had a moment, just like even a personal moment of where I was at a personal crossroads of like, do I go the way of culture of like the cancel culture energy, or do I go the other way? I'm like, this isn't right. Like, especially if you're like scrolling through, I was scrolling through Instagram,
Right.
and it's all of that, like, if somebody hurts you, the healing community of like, essentially it's like micro canceling human beings,
Yep.
you know, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you hurt my feelings one time, you're out.
You're out, and I need to tell everybody about you. So is that like, isn't that just the same like a smear campaign? Isn't
It
that the
is.
same what a narc would do?
I would say that. I would say so. I mean, it's offense. Like you're just taking, and that's not to say that you shouldn't set healthy boundaries, because you absolutely have to.
Right.
And I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know enough about the compulsive kind of codependent fawn response, though I have those at
Right.
certain levels in order to like that knee jerk, like, ah, I'm good, I promise, everything's fine, whatever it is, just don't hurt. Um, but to know that the bravery of setting the boundary, or the bravery of even allowing someone to not be who you think they are,
Right.
you know, and jumping over that uncertainty gap of maybe they will hurt, you know, maybe they are not
Yeah.
okay. But
Right.
I'm like, as far as my own moral philosophy and having like, it's high on my values list, the bravery of radical vulnerability. And I'm like, I'm just going to ask you what you think, instead of, I know it looks like this, these look like they're the same thing, but until I know for sure, I'm not going to write you off as a human soul, because this is just like, you've never behaved this way before, so why would I do that? So
Right.
just using critical
Yeah.
thinking versus my impulse, which is like, hate,
Right.
go away,
Impulse,
can't cancel.
impulsive, emotional,
Yeah,
overreaction,
yeah.
self-righteous, virtue signaling.
And all of
Like,
that is trauma. All of that is kind of that narcissistic protection response.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So like for us that we've been through it, we've been through, our share of bull. We've been the person that was trying to overcorrect. Hey, don't do that. Hey, we shouldn't. Hey, you probably shouldn't. Hey, because I know I definitely was typed. Oh, oh, actually, you shouldn't be saying that word. That word's offensive to people.
Mm-hmm.
We use this word now, and it's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that there's words that we use for different
Yeah.
people, but at the
Yeah.
same time, they were just words.
Yeah.
They're just words. We're giving them power.
Yeah.
We're giving them more power than we need, and we're taking
Mm-hmm.
away power of just of ourselves to just use any word. Like, so it's hard to even have fun with words. It's hard to find the nuance of words. You
Mm-hmm.
can't even use the secondary definition of the word when you use a word. Like, oh, yeah, no, actually, that means this. No, actually, I meant it the other way. No, 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 no. This way only. This way. What are you doing? It's like, wait, look in the definition. There's more definitions in the
Yeah.
dictionary for this word. No, not allowed.
That, you are describing my biggest, like, it's not a pet peeve. It's something I will do. I'm like, girl, if you take out your dictionary again, if you are taking out a dictionary to describe a word you just used, you need a minute. And that person, you probably need to set some healthier boundaries with that individual, and just understand that that's maybe you're not on the same page, on the same wavelength. Then this is when you kind of step back from a little bit. But
Right.
I use words as they are defined, not as they feel, or
Right.
at least I
Right.
strive to. I strive
Right.
to use the words by their definition, regardless of how, which is, it gets me in trouble. But other than that, it's powerful that we use. I'm all for the new how do you feel about the new, people of like mind are like, guys, are we just redefining what things mean now?
Yeah.
Every word means something, which I'm fine. But can we talk about that we're doing that? Like, if you want to redefine a word, that's cool, but don't gaslight us into saying that word has always meant that, because it didn't. You're changing it, or you're moving it to a different level of importance.
Right.
It's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
that's happening right now in our
Yeah,
language.
there's definitely a lot of that. There's definitely a lot of people just trying to govern language, trying to make new definitions and trying to rewrite history. And there's too much, actually, there's just too much of it. And over like micromanaging and governing each other in ways that's not even fun. It's not even cool. Like, we're not even having a good time anymore. Everybody's, first of all, we're barely even having conversations like this. Like, if it isn't on a podcast, who's really having an hour, 45-minute conversation nowadays?
Yeah.
Very minimal. We are, and we probably
and then
would
we're finding each other on the
life.
internet.
Right. We know. Oh, we can go an hour of talking shit. So now we know, okay, we got to find other people that can talk for an hour, right?
Yeah.
But how many people are like that in your life directly? You might have that one or two friends, maybe, that you can go that you realize, oh, I can talk for an hour, because you could talk for an hour with them. But
I'm unique in that way. I try to foster that energy as a soul. So people talk to me that way, whether they mean to or not. And I have yet to figure it out. It's a really humbling thing. And it's something I'm kind of, when you go through your life and you figure out everybody has this kind of unique, I'll use the word magic, because we're all unique expressions of humanity. Right. And like, what type of people you're able to disarm, what type of people you're able to, where are the walls, where are the boundaries with each individual. But I will have conversations like this with strangers on the street, like 20 minute offset conversations about God knows what, sharing mental health resources, usually pointing them in various directions of like, hey, you want to talk about CPTSD? Have you ever heard of it? Hey, read a book. And that's usually, and then I'm like, bye. And they're like, this is great.
Right. You're the random lady that talks to people in the street. That's you. That's who you are.
I'm so that lady. I wasn't always, though. I learned that skill. I'm like, screw small talk. I don't want to do it. And then I started working in like lounges and started sitting there with a microphone in my hand for 3 hours and entertaining people. And I'm like,
what made you do that? So you would go to like a random lounge and just pop up like with shades on, hidden, like, or what would you do? Like,
no, in Orlando, where I lived, there's a very large entertainment community there, because it's such a tourist town. So there's lots of music. You can, before you could work full time as an entertainer in Orlando. So because of the parks, you either get a full time contract. You've got like some of the best singers in the world live in Orlando, raising families. Mm-hmm. And these people are like top notch. You would never know. So there's a lot of third party entertainment. So I essentially would go to the hotels. We'd be set up with a company, and they would send out duos, or I'll be with a guitarist. Or one of my favorite gigs I ever did, I was doing right before lockdown, and it was just me and my iPad, and it was 4 hours.
What did you do?
I sang Kaleia karaoke is what I did, but I played, because it was at, it was in like the Disney area. So all of that repertoire was on the table, but I called it my iPad band, and I made them clap for my karaoke tracks. And it was just me and a microphone for 4 hours. And it was a blast. The easiest gig. Like, it was a hard gig because it was long, but it was fun in the sense of I got to entertain myself and entertain people all night long, and just kind of keep the ball moving. And walk down and talk to whoever and see where they're at. And just because I am blessed with the ability, or blessed with whatever it is that some people have, that allows walls to kind of fall down, and then I get to speak life and encourage, and it's kind of a little thing. But I am that crazy. I'm not gonna say crazy lady, because that's a lot. But I may.
That's what I see. I do that same thing. I'm that weirdo that get stuck in a conversation. I'm the weirdo that people look at in the middle of the street and go, "Hey, that's the guy I just want to ask for directions." And, "Hey, can I stop you and talk to you for 45 minutes?" And I'm like, yeah.
Can I stop you and talk to you for 45 minutes? Bless your heart.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So you worked, that was basically what, at a bar or a cafe or something that you were doing the karaoke?
Bars and lounges. So that would have just been, that's what you do when you don't play an instrument. You'll have to use like background tracks, which is essentially karaoke. And then a lot of times I would have a guitarist or something along with, I had a band, a party band. And that's just what you do. It's for conventions. It's a huge convention town. So there's people coming through and they just need music to dance to. And it's a cool job. It's all I've ever really done as far as that. But the conventions and various lounges, bars, there was always live entertainment.
So. Okay. I also saw your reel. You act, right? You say you got an audition that you're doing today, right? We talked before.
Yeah.
So what's the audition about, and like what kind of acting have you done that's like, is it out there that I can watch, stream, or something?
Good question, actually. I don't know. I have a background in theater. That's my background. Theater and live performance.
You went to school for it?
No, I started working at 19. So I graduated from high school and immediately went into entertaining people, got a full-time job, full-time contract. And that's what I've done for the last decade, is just, it's all I'm qualified to do on paper in a good way, which is really fun now, in a fun uncertainty season. But today they look what the industry is doing now is everything is digital. So you just audition. Pretty much what I'm doing for right now is what the auditions end up being. I switched over to the film industry at the end of 2016. And started reshaping my skill set from live performance to film. And I just was hit all of a sudden with this. And I never wanted to do it before. I didn't care. I actually avoided it. I was like, I'd rather not. I don't need to do it. I'm okay. And then it just hit me like fire. I was like, man, what is this industry? I started walking towards the film industry, just kind of casually strolling and reshaping, and took some acting classes. And in a good way, it ruined my life, and in a bad way. It depends on where you place your value.
What do you mean? It ruined your life. Explain that. Explain how that ruined your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was watching a matinee. I was watching a matinee of Captain America: Civil War, honestly, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, I gotta go pursue a film career now. I gotta go at least try that. But I've always worked in the entertainment industry, so to me it's just the offshoot of my industry, telling stories, which it's a service industry. If you think about it, it's very much
people pleasing.
Yeah, it's very much so. Oh wow. I just flashed every single actor in my brain. It is people pleasing, and it's this kind of masturbatory feeling for the sake of resonance and allowing people to, like, the actual job of being an actor is public feeling, and you're just feeling your own feelings, and then other people get to feel their feelings because you're feeling yours in front of them. And it's dark, and there's a theater, and everybody's like, I can feel my feelings now because no one can see me, and that's and story moves and story changes. So you're always serving the story. So I had a conversation that afternoon with, at the time, my spouse, and I said, hey, I got to go do this thing. And just some hard truths of like, this isn't, communication is not working. We got to go. I have to go over here. I have to go pursue this thing. And I enrolled myself in acting classes, which essentially gave me emotional literacy in a really cool way. So there's a technique called Meisner. So there's all these different acting gurus and there's acting the career, there's the job, there's the art form, and the art form of being a human being. And but one of them is Sanford Meisner, and he developed this exercise and repetition, which is essentially live action emotional literacy, is what that is, if I could explain it. Practically, there's two actors are in front, they're in a class. There's these kind of safety precautions as far as like things that you can talk about, things you can't talk about, things that you like you don't talk about it after. And they stand up in front of the class and repeat each other, which is
Right.
you know, I don't know. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever done any acting or anything like that?
I haven't done any, but I've seen those exercises.
Okay.
And I can understand that where it will come from is like, you know, an emotional place you gotta really
Yeah,
dig deep.
you it's an exercise of observing and being observed. So you're observing your partner, you're also observing yourself in real time. And there's like a you know, so there's a time limit.
Okay.
You know that it's a safe environment for actors. You're not going to talk about it after. So whatever comes up is fair game. It's just this closed moment where something is true. And you just kind of discover what's true. And practically you're standing and you're repeating. So you're making an observation. So I would make the observation that you're wearing a black shirt. And you would repeat back to me, I'm wearing a black shirt. And you and I would agree over the fact that you are currently, in fact, wearing a black shirt. Right?
Okay.
You know, so it starts with physical observations and then moves into a bit more intrusive or bold assumptions, essentially, about someone's emotional state or your emotional state. And
Okay.
it's very therapeutic. Not so therapeutic if you got trauma and then you're like, oh, who's mad and sad all the time? This girl. oh, people are connecting with you. Oopsies. People actually do look directly into your eyes, and there are people still have souls. That's cool. This is so at about 3 years or so. 2019 is when everything came to light, and I kind of woke up to my narcissistic relationship and that kind of stuff. And it just ended up being really powerful. But it was in fact emotional literacy, because I knew how I felt. I knew how I felt about something. I knew that I liked something or didn't like something. And I think that we as society or as people or even as codependents, we don't give ourselves permission to just say, I don't like that.
Right.
Period.
Right. So you're saying that you going into that, like just saying, hey, fuck this, I want to do this acting thing. And then doing those classes, you started to build some emotional literacy that you possibly didn't have before, or some awareness that you didn't have before. And
Yeah.
then you took that awareness and you turned it towards your relationship and was like, wait a minute, holy shit, I go over here and everybody's in tune with each other. Everybody listens. They, you know, take their turns talking. I come home, you just talking over me. You shut me up or whatever. Like, I don't know the situation. I don't know.
It was.
Care to divulge the information or?
Yeah, not too much. I've done some incredible healing on it, and the way I view it, and I know within the community, it's kind of a different. I stepped away for a while from like the YouTube, because I was using it over the summer very much as state management, and just stepped away from the consumption of the content, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because there's kind of this feedback loop of I wasn't metabolizing in my system, was metabolizing the information that I actually needed to get me to a place of real healing. And
you were kind of, sorry to cut you off. So you were kind of just like using it like a little emotional masturbation there to like kind of like feel good, feel bad, but feel good. Remember the feelings, stay in the feelings, not let yourself actually move forward. Because I know I've done that for a bit. I had to fall back and be like, all right, this is starting to like trigger me. I feel good. And it's like, you feel good, but your patterns are already, I watched this video, I've been watching these videos for months, so it's just a pattern. and sometimes you feel great, and you turn on, you turn on those type of videos, and you're sitting there, and you're like, oh, I just got reminded right back into the bull. My mindset, my state of mind is basically back into that same situation.
Yeah. I found I had to do some real work on the concept. I mean, I don't know your background as far as relationships or how I know how we met, so I can assume your background based on how we're connected, um, based on the content we both consume and the people who the great, the healers and geniuses who are like, yeah, this guy's got it figured out,
Right.
but there was trauma around the concept of personality disorders, narcissism, psychopathy. There's fear and like all of these. It's a traumatic prognosis to hear, to learn of that level of brokenness in people, and that level of pain inside of people, and what it is, and like just essentially Chernobyl on the inside, which is why it mainly just affects the people close to them, not necessarily everybody else. That's the way I tried to describe it, because I had a huge community I needed to go back to and needed to have answers for, because I'm like, these people are going to have questions for me, and I'm going to have to tell the truth, because I realized I hadn't been for a long time.
And I had been, because you were hiding it, you were trying to sweep it under the rug and just be like, no, we're great, we're having a great time, I love it, I like the abuse, you don't understand.
It was covert, so I wouldn't have even called it that. Everything was very, very covert in my situation. It was very covert. Nothing was.
So you didn't know. You didn't know at all. You didn't.
I woke up to it. I woke up to it. I was one of those people that had very serious somatic issues that went away like this, gone. Like migraines, chronic migraines, like IBS symptoms, all of that, gone.
So you just woke up. What made you wake up? Like, what was it? You woke up and you was like, this motherfucker here. Like, what? Nah, we not doing that. What made you?
I moved to LA. I moved to LA and got out of Florida, where most of my trauma was. When I moved to Florida, I moved away from Florida. So all of this, if anything, if it's helpful to anybody, would just to understand how many things can affect that level of how often we're in patterns and we're in currents and we're in flow, and we're not realizing, it all feels internal to us, and it is, but you're not realizing if you're constantly triggered. When I moved to LA, they're like, do you have a job over there? Do you have anything? I'm like, no, I just stand up a little straighter in LA. I stand up straighter there. And I was like, I'm not triggered. And when someone asked me that, I was in an acting class across the street from the hospital that my dad died. Like, I'm like, that's my story. I grew up there. So getting out of your hometown helps. But then I was.
Yuji said, stress has a hell of a effect on the body and mind.
Doesn't it, girl? My goodness.
It does. I understand exactly what you're saying, because I've been in my life's been sporadic, it's been crazy. And I've lived in different states, different cities and stuff, and I know what it's like, especially like right now. My mom, my brother, they live in York, Pennsylvania. If I'm in York, Pennsylvania, there's only maybe 2-3 good memories that I have there in 2-3 different spots. Everything else just makes me feel like shitty. The area looks shitty, the environment's shitty, and you would know this. I told my girl this the other day, because in the town that we're in, we're not really in that part of town that's shitty, but we're still technically, when we write down the address, it's that town, the town that she's in.
Understood.
My point is, when you're in a town and everybody agrees that the town is shitty, then they win. The town is shitty because there's no way around it. Like when you go on to their online community and they're like, this town's shitty, like there's no way around it, because wherever you go, you're gonna get those people. They're gonna reinsure No, with their energy, with their body language, with their
Mm-hmm.
eyes, with the way they look at you, that you're in a shitty town.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna look like all crazy in the face. They're not, it's like, and in York, it was like that. And if you were having a great day, you would, unless you just had headphones on and you was ignoring everybody, you would not miss someone telling you, this town sucks. It's because I'm in York, Pennsylvania. This town sucks. It's like a brainwashing. Everybody agrees, and everybody's just making sure that everybody stays there to hate it. Like, no one's leaving. People just stay there and hate it. Like,
Yeah.
this place sucks. Yep, this place sucks. All right, I'll just live here for the rest of my life. And it's like, it just blew my mind.
I think that,
Like,
yeah. I think that's powerful too, to think about. A couple of things come to mind as you're talking. The atmosphere of a city, in an individual city, and then also the power of intent. I've been doing a lot of traveling, and I've been seeing the national parks is essentially what I've been doing. And in there, I was just yesterday in Death Valley National Park. I drove my butt 4 hours one way because I'm like, my week is kind of, I'm coming up on some big kind of like, I have to be ready events. And I have filled my week with things that bring me joy. And I'm like yesterday was such a great day. I decided it was my birthday. I was like, I don't even care. No one else is around. It's my birthday. I'm a 33-year-old lady and I'm allowed to celebrate my birthday.
You can't be making up your birthday.
I can do what I want alone in my car. Why not? So, okay, it's 2 months later. Like, no, I'm not going to ask you to celebrate my birthday, but I can celebrate my birthday.
Happy birthday, Kaleia. Happy belated.
Thank you. My birthday this year was so sad, and it was like full of uncertainty, and there was rejection in it, and it was infused with all this negativity. And then yesterday was such a perfect day. It was all my favorite things, and driving, and I love these long drives that I take, and as the world just kind of unfolds in front of you. And mind you, I'm making lemonade out of lemons in this whole situation. This is a bittersweet situation.
I get you.
I wish I had the certainty. I wish I had some stability, but I'm enjoying the variety and just kind of like, well, I might as well see some pretty stuff. And if I'm completely honest, there was times over the summer where I'm like, I'm going to see something pretty today and I'll go to my dark place tomorrow. Nope. The dark place is, because like you do when you're overwhelmed or when you're heartbroken or any of that, you just kind of, but it was my coping mechanism. I'm going to see something. Oh, I'm going to go see a natural wonder today and I'll deal with that pain, tomorrow. But it's brilliant. So I was in Death Valley National Park. And then at that moment, I realized I became the coolest person that I know, which seems so ridiculous because it was a huge day of breakthrough for me because I went to the salt flats in the middle of this desert and it was bringing me life in a way that I've never, the coolest thing about this, and if there's in healing and the work of doing the hard healing. And I'm not saying that it is easy because it is so hard to break the shared fantasy as quickly as possible, to be aware of yourself, to like, look, what am I doing? Is this me? What's not me? And just take radical responsibility for everything that's happened and take radical responsibility for yourself.
Right.
And face that awfulness in the mirror, take the plank out of your eye and really, really, really deal with how you got to where you're going and just start unpacking. And I was blessed. I understand that's a privileged existence that I've had, even with coronavirus, having the tools. It was like a 6-year journey of self-healing to get there. So I was kind of trained a little bit in the language, in the therapeutic language. I was trained and ready for what came when it all came to a head. But the energy of every little city is so different in the locations. Weren't the guys talking about that yesterday? Were they on Tentacle Croissant? Were they talking about that yesterday? LA and that.
I have listened to that one. I actually had a podcast with Rin at 1 o'clock, so I was getting ready and
got it. Every now and then I'll check. I'm like, what are they talking about? What are we talking about? What's going on?
An hour and a half before I got to do a podcast or do something, I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. I don't pay attention. Like I'll put 100 things on. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to listen to that right now. No, I'm really just having like a little bit of a meltdown before I do things, and then I go, okay. Like 5-10 minutes before the show, I'm like, what am I worried about again?
Nothing.
Let me just go do this shit already. What am I doing? What am I
You're
doing?
not. Yeah, you're not alone. Right before this, I'm like, just go talk. Just go talk to some guy you follow on Instagram, dude. Like,
Just a damn conversation. We both know what
yeah.
the hell we're talking about. We both been through some shit.
Mhm.
We have something to share. That's all.
Ain't
Like it
nothing. Ain't
isn't.
nothing but a thing. It ain't nothing but a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you doing the acting
Uh-huh.
thing. That's kind of weird to say.
Yeah.
Have you ever did? You say you did theater. Have you ever did like some Broadway shows, some shows somewhere live?
No, I
Have
I
you
am
ever
actually,
done like Six Flags shows, like a
yes.
Disney show? Yeah.
Yeah. I worked at Disney. I,
Bow,
I
bow. I kind of guessed it in my head. That's
mhm.
why I'm happy right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
worked at Disney?
I've worked at every theme park in Orlando, Florida. So I was a big part of the community there. Um, and worked at every park. I had a 2-year contract. I opened an a cappella show there. That was kind of cool. It really, and it kind of helped propel me to other places as well. Um, I am equity, so I'm a union actor. I was going to go to New York before Corona. I was like, because I have this whole, I had all these dreams and all these plans, and then sometimes then you meet people, and then they kind of take you on a completely different path. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can, I can do whatever I want to do. Like, this is
Right.
sad. This is awful, and this is
Right.
tragic. And I've grieved a lot of losses, and just grieved and grieved and grieved, like a death more than a breakup. Because when it comes down to it, it really is a bit more of a death than a breakup. But I was gonna go. I was like, well, I might as well use my equity card and go to the city. I love that city. I love New York City. I have to go once a year or I lose my mind. Like, I have to go.
I understand, and I haven't been
Right?
there for like 5 years. I'm losing it. I've been
Yeah.
losing it. I'm like,
You
I
itching?
don't.
You gotta.
I'm gonna next time I go to New York City, I'm probably gonna have a fucking panic attack. I'm probably gonna be like, too many people, because I haven't been there for so much, like for so long. I feel like
Oh,
I'm gonna get over there and on a train and be like, oh my god, too many people on train.
just don't go during
Lose my
rush
shit.
hour and you'll be fine. Just go. You'll be on vacation, so you won't need to travel during that time. It's good.
I feel you.
I
I
go
feel
to
you.
New York. I love New York for its boundaries. That's why I love New York. I don't know what it is about me, but I like, depending on
For
the
the lack
region.
for the lack of boundaries, or
Oh,
for like
for the
we
strong fu boundaries. Like,
the
everybody.
not even you're not even here, you don't even exist. I look through you.
Mm-hmm.
I look through you. I
Uh-huh.
don't like that. I grew up on that.
See, that's
I
why you don't like
actually
it.
like I don't. Some people love it. They grew up, my friends there, they
Mm-hmm.
love it. They say that I like a place where I stop and I go to the store and that, hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on, man? How you doing today? Yeah, all right, cool, boom. Like I don't
Yeah.
like, or if I see some random people in the street, I go, oh hey, how you doing? Yeah, I don't know you. I will never see you again, but I'm gonna say, hey, how you doing? Walk right past.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like at least just
Absolutely.
that common courtesy of like, I understand you're a human, I'm a human. We passed each other. Hey, what's up? Little
Yeah,
head nod.
yeah, everybody's so on top of each other in New York that I think that city in general, everything is so rigid there. And opposite of Florida, you've been to Florida, so you know Florida is like vacation, retirement, everything's like, yeah. But
Yeah,
there's
everything's relaxing, or people are just talking
yeah.
to you about their whole life. Like I ain't got all the time in the world, girl. Just,
Mm-mm.
yeah, and then there was this, and then there was that. It's like,
Yeah.
girl, not right
There-
now.
There's no
I'm, a,
ground. Go ahead. We
I'm sorry.
talking?
I wanted to
No.
make a point that UG said I had a good guess because last week I guessed that she was playing the clarinet. Now I guess that you did some live Disney shows or some
Yeah.
amusement park shows. I'm a big amusement park enthusiast, so I
Well then,
looked. I was like, Kaleia looks like she would do some live shows.
I would. I can entertain you.
Wow. There you
You'd
go.
walk past me and I'd tell you
Yo,
some jokes or something.
yo, yes, you could sing. Like you
Thank
got
you.
some pipes, girl. Like
Thank you. Thank you.
we
I
got to
appreciate
work on something. Do you write songs at all?
it. I do. I
You
do.
write?
I started writing last year,
Okay.
or a couple of years ago. That was
Part of
part of
like
how that's part of how
therapy.
I process everything. Yeah, I started writing poetry. I started doing spoken word. That was fun. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
apparently I do spoken word now.
Hmm. No, like that. When I really sick in the head, that's like I used to do emotional type of music when I was a
Mm,
kid. That's like the
hmm
first thing that I used to do. But
hmm
prior to that, I was just doing dance stuff. Like I got Twerk Team on the channel. You could
hmm
see, and there's other songs that I like scraped from the channel because cancel culture. I left Twerk Team up. I'm like, you know what? If they hate on me, whatever. But I do have other songs that's just dance songs. Like most of the songs were dance songs. That's why they're not there. That's why
hmm
if you look, it's only like you can only go 2-3 years back and get some music.
hmm
But Sick in the Head really helped me get through it. Like actually
Yeah.
it was just I wrote like 11, 12 songs, but only 6 of them got, recorded and finalized and put out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was part of like a big therapeutic
Yeah.
process for me with like relationship with people because my narcissistic abuse and the way I received it was not just in a relationship. I received it in a relationship. I received it working with people doing music. I received it from, family stuff. So I
hmm
was receiving it from all angles. There
Yep.
was a period of time where like I couldn't even really have a whole conversation. I wouldn't even be able to have the enthusiasm to speak up for myself. So,
Wow.
so it's doing the podcast is just kind of helping that grow a little bit and letting myself get the practice and get the confidence to just speak my mind and say my experiences. Cause
hmm
I'll get gaslit from every angle, whether like I'll tell somebody something and they'll go, that wasn't real. I'll be like, yo, I'm on this tour. You're lying. Ignore you while as the tour is happening. I've been gaslit where they're like, yo, oh, you're not on that tour. You're not gonna be on no tour. You gotta shut up. You not. And then I get on a tour and no one pays attention to the fact that I'm on the tour. After the fact of the tour, they see it on TV and they go, look, Lionel, you should have been on that tour right there. And I turn around and I go, yeah, I was on that tour. What are you talking?
That's me.
I was on
That's
there. I
my.
was there.
Am I invisible? Like, that's me.
Didn't we talk about this? Oh, that was the tour. I didn't even know. I wasn't because you wasn't paying
Oh man.
attention to me. Like,
Yeah. Isn't it? It's a sad and I think often especially you don't hear about the invisibleness that you feel when somebody's gaslit and how that specific, not even gaslit, invalidated, like even
right,
invalidation,
right,
gaslighting, it's like you just feel like invisible.
right.
I've been to that, like I've been to that place of if I don't, I carry it well and I'll report it and sometimes I'll let it out and I won't. But I mean, I know what that's like as far as having that. I mean, I didn't think I was real. The vast expanse from of mental health from where I
Okay.
was to where I am is um is miraculous. Is miraculous to say the least. I've,
So
you
when
know,
so when you
go ahead.
said you didn't think you were real, what do you mean by that?
I
You
did
felt
not
like
think.
you a ghost, or you felt like
I'll just, okay. So I ended up with the level of gaslighting and the particular style of abuse, and that just interacting with that particular level of brokenness that I had lived with for as long as I did. Eventually, I disassociated. So you can't handle it anymore, and you get to a state where you just can't. And what I had essentially I had a psychotic break. So my brain just went click. Oh, okay. I'm dead. Of course. That makes perfect sense. I'm dead. This is hell. It's like that show The Good Place. It looks like heaven, but it isn't. Okay. And that made more sense to me that I was in a loving relationship, that I was, like that, because that's what it is. It's like a house of mirrors. It's that void of space that you're in,
right,
interacting with the black hole of somebody's brokenness and like having, and I remember going click and I couldn't even tell you having the thought both at one I was both simultaneously certain 10 years ago, I died. I got in the car with the other guy, and this is my. I'm in a hospital somewhere. That's what's happening. So it's derealization is essentially what it is. But then the other
Right.
side
You
is this
couldn't
boy.
even deal with reality. You was just like,
Yep.
this ain't real.
And
Me,
yeah,
I would think like I'm in a like a comedy sketch or some shit. Like this is a
yeah,
joke. This is a joke. I wouldn't actually think that,
yeah,
but sometimes I'll be like Truman Show, like, is this the movie? Am I just this is a prank? Like I'm getting pranked. This is some
yeah,
bullshit. My life, I just keep getting shitted
yeah,
on, like for somebody else's humor or whatever. Like
yeah,
somebody's
right,
back
right.
somewhere eating popcorn, laughing at my
Mhm.
ass, and I'm dealing with bullshit. Getting
Yeah.
fucking caught in the rain and shit, walking with swampy shoes for 2-3 miles. Like
Isn't it
that was me.
fascinating? I during that same moment, so to be completely transparent, I'm like on the ground in a bubble while someone's like in a ball while someone's standing over me, not even acknowledging that I exist. Because I was like, oh, I'm invisible. Okay, cool. I'm invisible. I'm dead. This is all a nightmare, so on and so forth. But then this voice in my head goes, look at you having a dissociative episode. Would you look at yourself? Look at you. He done
That's
broke
what I'm
you,
talking about. I have that voice is strong. I build him up. I
right?
talk to that voice. That's the voice I go by. Every time I like lose my shit, I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
you're having look at you. You're overreacting now. Look at you.
Right.
And like
Well,
I have this thing where you hear how I joke around when I'm talking to
mhm,
you or to anybody. I do that to myself, and I tone it down for everyone else. When no one else is around, that guy, he's a loony. I'm just like, whatever. Look what you did. Ha ha ha. Because that way, I cope that way. I have a good time because it's like I'm not taking myself too seriously.
seriously.
I
Yes.
lived I lived 25 years of my life with like a chip on my shoulder, like I gotta be the one. I gotta make it. I gotta be like it was everybody's getting in my way. Like it was I lived like
Mhm.
that. So I know now it's
Ah, whatever, man.
like it don't even matter. What does this matter at the end of the day? Just have
Yeah.
fun with it and don't
Isn't
get
it
too crazy.
isn't it a delightful moment of not taking yourself too seriously? And I'm grateful for that. Uh, and it was hard earned. It wasn't like it just kind of happens. I think a lot of times people I try my best to not destigmatize, but even to normalize mental health. I'm like, guys, there's there yes, right? Having try
Right.
to normalize, like, listen, man, you got a spot in your brain that like registers patterns and threats, and it's telling you that you're in a situation, but you're not. It's called like, here's all the like it's like you have a stomach ache, and I've always tried because that's how I've always experienced any sort of CPTSD. PTSD is very somatically. So I was like, I have anxiety, but anxiety to me is not. I never had the catastrophizing. I more of that kind of intrusive thought I did, but when I was my body was just like, I'm afraid. I'm like, okay. But it felt like a stomach ache to me. It felt
Right.
like not like I was like, oh, my body's pumping adrenaline for no reason. My flight response is running like crazy. But I try very hard now. And I was like, listen, this is what this is. This is real. And we don't think about it. We don't talk about it. I recently got God, there's a really cool, it's called the Amen Clinic. And they scan, oh, listen, man, let me tell you what. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't be talking about it.
What is that?
So the Amen Clinic he is a psychiatrist, or like it's essentially they're like the mental health people. They scan your brain using a SPECT scan, and which the way they read it is to diagnose mental health disorders. They take like a full history and actually look at your brain. They like his whole premise is how can you diagnose mental health without actually looking at the brain? And they've worked with a lot of NFL players to get their brains back up after hitting their heads a bunch of times, and they scan your brain. They like scan your brain in an active state. You have to do all these little tests and all this kind of cool stuff, and it's the best thing. What you think about?
Is this Scientology?
No, no, sweet goodness, no.
You yelled at me. You were like, no.
No, 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 not at all. Not at all.
I'm
Sorry,
fucking
didn't
with you.
mean
I'm
to.
just joking. I'm just
No,
talking
it's
shit.
medical. It's the coolest thing ever, man. It's like a MRI. And I was like, it was
So
so
what is it called
revelatory.
again? What is it called again? I'm sorry.
The Amen Clinic. Amen, like amen.
The Amen Clinic.
No,
Okay.
I was like, oh God, no, that does sound like that though, doesn't it, Kaleia? That's why I got excited.
So wait a minute. I got a couple
Comment.
of people on a train somewhere. They try to give me a free book and say, "Come sit over
No,
here. We'll let you know if you're stressed and you need to be cleansed
no, no, they're
of
actually,
all the
from
actual bugs." You know,
what,
I don't remember the science. I'm just adding
yeah.
shit. I'm about to get a note and a death threat soon. Let
From
me
what I
shut
know of
up.
them, they are actually anti-psychiatry completely. Because
Right. You're
yeah.
not crazy. You're not crazy. We just need to get the aliens and the parasites out of your blood. You're not crazy. We got you. Anti-parasite remover thingamabob.
Ah, ah.
When you feel that nobody care, actually, they are looking through you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We very much live in our own kind of simulated reality, and that's part of who we are. It's part of being a human person living on this earth. And I remember you got to wake up to each other. You got to wake up to like get out of your own mindset, regardless of how far you want to take that narrative and how far you want to live it out. Either way, we're still projecting. Either way, we're still filtered and filtered and filtered and filtered through our life experience, and we're it like I who we are as a soul being summoned to the planet by our parents. They're like, let's make a kid. Let's summon a human soul to the earth and have them walk out something like 90 years. Like, awesome. And we don't have any choice in the matter. We're just like, hello, I'm here.
You're
Planted in
right.
the planted in the soil of our childhood, of our family of origin, and we just kind of have to walk that out and
Right.
make do with. And it's I don't want to say that it's our own burden or trying to dance around the idea of fate, but it does shape us. What we go through, where we come from, it shapes you, and what you do with that shaping, what you do with
Right.
that sharpening, is really up to you. You can
Right.
blame everybody else. You can blame yourself if you want, but there are radical lessons and powerful healing. Like, well, what's the truth though? And challenging and critical thinking and finding the right language. I'm just a glutton. I'm a glutton for language. I'm a glutton for what is this called? Like, it's in a yin space, and it feels like you're trying to like pick up water, but
Right.
knowing the word that goes to that, which I think why YouTube is so freaking powerful, and like what people are doing here and people talking about this. I just recently was telling someone, they sent me to another expert on narcissism. They're like, have you heard of this particular person? I'm like, I've heard of these particular people, and these people have got me. They got my back. They helped me out. But I remember thinking about going back to waking up to this relationship I was in and Googling no empathy. Okay, Googling no empathy, finding the word narcissistic personality disorder. Like, that doesn't seem right. But okay, well, covert narcissist. And all of a sudden, Richard Grannon's there on a tank top talking on my screen, telling me about, covert narcissism and giving me language to something that has been so obscure, and taking this like obscene, like this just yin mess and giving it form all of a sudden.
Right.
And like, what's so cool is that the people that I think, like, even like where we met, these people that have worked and they've inspired us, inspired creatives, and inspired the community and served the community, that it's like they've planted this tree of many branches, and like you're free falling into the abyss of a narcissistic discard, and you just kind of go, and then somebody shows up saying some kind of something. You're like, and it's like your first breath of oxygen in the void of space. And I mean,
Right.
how cool is that? How powerful is that? How cool is it to think about that you right now, you're like, I want to say what I want to say, and I'm going to start a podcast that, I'm going to go talk to a stranger, and I have this knowledge of things. I'm able to talk to a guy I went to Crater Lake National Park and talked to a guy. His name was Zach. He had weary but kind eyes, and I said something about ketchup, and then he shared with me his OCD. Like, he's like, oh, by the way, I have OCD, and here's my full history. And I said, and he's like, oh, well, I don't know why I'm sharing all this with you. I go, it's okay, it happens all the time. And we talked and we talked for like 15 minutes, but I was like, hey man, have you ever heard of CPTSD? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this guy? And I just sat and talked to these two dudes for like 15 minutes. One guy used to be a bouncer. I was like, write down Pete Walker, write down Richard Grannon. I'm not leaving till you do it. And I'm like, it's going to change for you. He's like, I can feel it already. And I got to peace out, and all because my husband was a jerk. Right? Like, where else would he have?
How long were you with your husband for, Kaleia?
13 years. I got
So
married
you
at
were with him 20. And when did you meet him?
19.
So you ain't know shit.
I didn't know shit.
You ain't know shit. You was just like, life is great. I want to sing and act.
Yeah. You don't, it's just one of those things, and you're trying to live a certain type of way, and certain communities will encourage certain levels of and will marry off children where they probably shouldn't. And I don't even regret it. Like, I think about my life, and like, it's like, I was sitting yesterday, like, I did it. I did the thing. I was like, I was a kid, so you got to forgive yourself for the decisions that you make. And I was a broken kid on that. And but then, okay, you did it. And I'm proud of what I did. I'm not, it taken me a long time to get here, of like, oh, no, I was okay. I worked really hard. Against a losing battle, and I fought so hard. And I am not at all ashamed of any of what happened and how it ended. And at the end of the day, you can only control yourself. You can only show your heart and know who you are. So this is all you have control over at the end of the day, is what you do.
Right.
And I remember in that moment not knowing if I was real, not knowing what was going on, not knowing if I had even made it. I had to flee. Like, I had to run back to Florida last July instead of, like, I was in a really, really dark place, and like the darkest I've ever, and I just one of those moments where you hope someone picks up the phone, and my big brother picked up the phone. He's like, just come home, Kaleia. I was like, oh, okay, I'll come home. And just the person that doesn't make it about them,
Right.
And I get back to Florida. I don't know where I am. And I have this vision of me being caught in the undertow of a wave. And I heard, don't struggle. If you struggle, you'll drown. So just let it go. And because you're grasping onto strings, but you're all tied up, or the picture of like a kitten tied in all of this, like, and the more you struggle, the more it goes around your neck, and the more the noose. So you just have to release, let go, trust in a higher power, a moral philosophy. What are you made of? What do you do? Who are you?
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I noticed there's been, like, most of my life, almost all of it has been pursuing my dream, my goal, whatever. And through that, I've learned when I've gotten too uptight or too say how I can say this, just basically trying really hard to get the outcome that I wanted.
Yeah.
Not just trying to do my best, and whatever the outcome is, it is. But trying to, like, this is the outcome that I want, and worrying so much about the outcome. With those times when I did that, I'll be the most stressed. I wouldn't sleep. I'll be snapping on people. I'll be emotional flashback, yelling at people in the middle of the fucking street. Ah, you didn't bring the stuff. I told you. I knew you was gonna fucking do it. Ah, just losing my shit.
Yeah.
But now, and it's been recent, just kind of learning, okay, well, I'm going to push this. I'm going to put this out in the world. Let's see how this works. I know I'm good at what I do. I'm not insecure about my music, because it's like, I know I'm good at what I do, but some people are not going to take it. Some people are not interested. Some people are caught up in whatever the mainstream is, and whatever. Let's just see how it goes and take it day by day. And maybe tomorrow I'll think about a new thing, a new way to pursue or push this music out, and just take it day by day instead of worrying about everything, trying to build everything, trying to make everything perfect before I release it to the world. And Kaleia, I would sit there and like craft something, and it'd be great. It'd be amazing. Everybody around me, yo, you did an amazing job here. No, not good enough. This one thing, I just need to fix this one thing. So no one fucking sees it. Or by the time that everyone gets to see it and experience it, it's way too late. It's old already. What the hell are you doing? Why'd you make this? And I could have, and if I didn't do that before, if I wasn't so fucking uptight and have my panties in a bunch, so to speak, I would be a lot better off just chilling and putting stuff out. I think everybody should kind of just go with the flow, fuck what the numbers are saying, fuck what people are telling you to believe and act like. Just go with the flow. Do what you can do, work a little bit for tomorrow, and live a little bit for today. That's all we can do.
I mean, isn't it called flow? The state of creativity, that state where stuff is just kind of flowing, that mystic state we all crave as creatives, the state of flow, conversational flow, where it is easy and it comes from kind of a deeper place. I find, this allowing, it's like, just go with the flow. I think there's something kind of magic about that statement altogether, understanding that there is kind of a current to things and leaning back into what's really available in the space, not to get too woo-woo or energetic or anything that, which I can live in that space if I'm, that's the language I can play with that language if I need to, but it's just allowing yourself. I always try to I have a big sister energy to me. So I connect with a lot of like 20 somethings. And when I was younger, it was like the preteens. And I'm so grateful. And I'm like the grown up, and I was like, I don't know. Don't do what I did. Okay. Just don't do whatever. Don't do it. But having, I tell them, I go, listen, I tell most people, young people, two things, because we are required as human beings. Like, you're 18, know what you want to do for the rest of your life. That's what, at least in American culture, that is the paradigm. Oh, you have to go to college. You have to know.
You don't need to know. You don't.
Invest thousands of dollars in a career, and you don't even know anything about yourself. And
invest thousands of dollars. You don't even know anything about yourself. Your brain hasn't even fully developed. Go ahead, make that choice for your lifetime. Get out there, champ. You can do it.
Yes, I'm like, life is short, so don't waste it. But life is also super long, so don't freak out.
Right.
Like, don't freak out. And you don't know your 30-year-old self. I'm sure you had that. I mean, I used to joke that I turned 30 and lost my mind. And not really, but I turned 30. I was like, I am not the same person that made these life decisions. And there was lots of depth and lots of trauma. One day we'll have to get on here and talk more conspiracy theories, because I come from, like, my brother's like a social justice warrior, and my mom's a QAnon. So I have the full expanse.
Oh shit, you didn't even tell me about that. Oh shit. Let me write this down. No.
So
Kaleia, thank you for showing up on the Street Shaman Podcast. Everybody in the chat, thank you for showing up, watching this live. Thanks for everybody that's leaving comments. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for your time and attention. We love y'all. Hit me up on IG. Hit me up. Leave the comments on the comment spots and all the things that you can do. Press all the buttons. Just press all of them. Just run in there and press all them damn buttons. We love y'all. Peace. Shamanic Poe, Kaleia, Street Shaman Podcast. Out of here.
Thank you.